You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WGBW Daily News Roundup for the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. The Veterans Village of tiny homes proposed by Veterans First of Northeast Wisconsin faces yet another hurdle. The village that will provide tiny housing for veterans has approval from the city of Green Bay and Brown County to proceed at a location on St. Anthony Drive near the Green Bay VA clinic on the former site of the Brown County Mental Health Center. Some opponents have concerns about the development being close to the county's Potters Field Cemetery. Veterans First has agreed to pay for a ground survey to ensure that no one is buried on the property that they will develop. Sunday was the final day in the 16-day-long sturgeon spearing season in the Lake Winnebago system. The Wisconsin DNR says 943 prehistoric fish were harvested this year. That doubled last year's harvest, even with poor water clarity issues. Harvest caps were not reached during the season. The 90 to 99% harvest trigger on the upriver lakes was hit, but that was late Sunday afternoon. The DNR adds that 63 fish weighing over 100 pounds were harvested this season. The city of Green Bay proposes to work with the Green Bay Area Public School District to turn now or soon to be shuttered elementary schools into housing. The city proposes turning Elmore and Tank Elementaries into residential housing facilities. The proposal also calls for a land swap between the city and the school district. The city's Parks Committee may vote on the proposal Wednesday. Pet owners in the greater Green Bay area will now have to travel to Appleton for 24-hour emergency vet care. Blue Pearl Veterinary Hospital in Bellevue closed Friday, making Blue Pearl Fox Valley in Appleton the closest emergency vet in the area. Northeast Wisconsin has been in a veterinarian shortage since the pandemic, with pet owners facing long wait times and even higher prices. A Green Bay native who was put in the national spotlight with the devastating Los Angeles fires has been let go from her job as Los Angeles fire chief. Kristen Crowley was fired Friday by Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass following a public fight and finger-pointing over the preparedness of the department and the devastation from the widespread blaze. Bass originally praised Crowley in the early hours of the event, but later learned 1,000 firefighters could have been deployed the day the blaze began. The various fires in Los Angeles destroyed over 18,000 homes, businesses, and structures and killed dozens of people. A 43-year-old Wild Rose man is in custody after leading Fond du Lac County Sheriff's deputies on an 18-mile chase into Winnebago County. The chase started when deputies received information that a vehicle had traveled to Milwaukee to pick up illegal substances. When deputies located the vehicle in question, it failed to stop at a stop sign and would not pull over for deputies. Tire deflation devices were used, the vehicle still did not stop, and took to I-41. Finally, a pit maneuver was used to stop the vehicle on Highway 26 in Winnebago County. The man was charged with fleeing and recklessly endangering safety. Do you have a written budget for your finances? Civic Media's Joanne Krulatz tells us why you should.
People are budgeting more than ever, and nearly 9 in 10 think everyone should budget, according to Debt.com. Budgeting is a practical way to stay in charge of your money. Having a budget means knowing exactly how much is coming and going out each month and planning where and when to spend. Plus, budgeting is essential if you want to pay off debt. Here's some tips in a handy way as you embark on your journey to financial wellness. The first step is to calculate your monthly net income after taxes and deductions so you know how much you bring home. If you have several sources of income, you may need to check your bank accounts and pay stubs or consult your accountant on this step. Track your spending, whether you prefer an app on your phone, computer software, or simply a notebook to jot down your expenses. Keeping track of your spending is critical. It helps you see where you spend your money rather than where you think you are. Categorize your spending, set up a spending budget, choose a budgeting system, pay bills on time. Automatic payments can be scheduled beforehand and help avoid late fees and penalties for missed payments. Contribute to your retirement, save for the big things, and build an emergency fund. For more information or further inquiries, contact the Wisconsin Better Business Bureau.
Two bills were proposed in the Wisconsin State Legislature last week to limit the ability of local governments to restrict residents from maintaining vegetable gardens and chicken flocks. If passed into law, the chicken-related bill would force local governments to allow residential property owners to keep less than 5 chickens or quails, but it could allow those governments to require permits for the birds. The garden-related bill would prohibit local governments from prohibiting or requiring permits for vegetable or flower gardens. Despite controversy in recent years, the Wisconsin Assembly has passed an annual Black History Month resolution. In 2019, Democratic sponsors wanted to include Colin Kaepernick in the resolution. Republicans objected because the Wisconsin native and former NFL quarterback protested police violence by kneeling during the national anthem before games. Then, in 2022, a Republican-authored resolution passed the state Senate, despite objections from Democrats, while both houses signed off on a resolution in 2023. Those honored this year include the first black judge to sit on the Wisconsin Appeals Court, Paul Higginbotham, and Marsha Anderson, the first black woman to become a major general in the United States Army Reserve. Ahead of the vote, an amendment from Democrats removed the name of Samuel Coleman, who's the Assistant Superintendent of Instruction for the Oshkosh Area School District. A Wisconsin Congressman, Derek Van Orden, has filed for the impeachment of a federal judge who issued a preliminary injunction against Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. The injunction stems from a lawsuit filed by Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul and other states to stop the group from accessing sensitive Treasury records, including Social Security numbers. Musk called for Judge Paul Engelmeyer's impeachment the day after the injunction was issued, and on Tuesday, Congressman Van Orden introduced the bill. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
The Bucks beat the Heat. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucks were down by 10 at the half, but came back strong in the fourth quarter, defeating the Miami Heat 120-113. Giannis and Damian Lillard were limited, but that opened the door for players like Kyle Kuzma and Kevin Porter Jr., known as Kuz and Scoot. Doc Rivers.
I think Scoot scored a couple of times, then Kuz gets a rebound, breaks out, creates a basket, then Scoot goes back to it. Just gives us a lot of speed, and we try to make sure we have one roller, and I think it's a good fit.
The Bucks head to Houston to play the Rockets tomorrow night. College hoops, the Badgers now 21-6 after losing to Oregon. In overtime Saturday, they host Washington 8 p.m. tomorrow night at the Kohl Center. Marquette is at home tomorrow night against Providence. The Golden Eagles have lost 4 of their last 6 games. And the Milwaukee Panthers losing to Robert Morris 72-59. Robert Morris in first place in the Horizon League. The Panthers dropped to 5th. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. More odd yet not surprising news from the Kanye West camp. The New York Post reports that those close to Kanye say he is inhaling nitrous oxide, or laughing gas. Love that stuff. The Post reports that the drug was a major issue between West and recently estranged wife Bianca Censori. According to the Post, West reps are blaming his dentist, Thomas Connolly, for getting him hooked on nitrous again because it messes up his memory, adding that Connolly wants to steal millions of dollars from the rapper. How much cash does Kanye carry on him when he goes to the dentist? Yeah, I'm talking to you. One of the most famous scenes from the film Taxi Driver was Robert De Niro's character, Travis Bickle, asking that very question. De Niro recently appeared on Live with Mark and Kelly and said the whole scene was improvised. Bobby D was nominated for an Oscar for the role. Plans for a sequel to Taxi Driver were ultimately scrapped in 2013 because Martin Scorsese was unhappy with the script. Apparently, there were not enough ad-libs in the world to save it. Trust fund kid Elon Musk has drawn a lot of political criticism lately, but now he's under fire for being a bad parent from his own father. Errol Musk appeared on the Wide Awake podcast and said that his son will probably shoot him for saying this, but Elon is not a good father. This comes after rumors that Musk had fathered a 13th child, somehow with 16 women. Should probably fact check that. It's important to note that just a couple years ago, Errol Musk admitted to having a second child with his stepdaughter, who was only 4 years old when he married the child's mother, according to Rolling Stone. Errol and the girl's mom have 2 children of their own, as Musk apparently wanted his future baby mama to have playmates. For the record, Rolling Stone also reported that Elon Musk is not a fan of his father. He called him a terrible human being who has done every evil thing or crime you could possibly imagine, which is probably why they decided not to have kids together. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network. The Andy Griffith Show is one of the most beloved sitcoms of all time. The show's cast included the title character Andy Griffith, Don Knotts as Sheriff Barney Fife, and Ron Howard, who started on the show at the age of 5 and played Andy's son Opie for 8 seasons. The 70-year-old Howard, who is now a director, posted a photo of himself with Griffith and Knotts from a movie set in the late 90s on Instagram last week with a caption that revealed that Howard and Knotts were actually distant cousins. Well, that's kind of cool. There is finally some clarity regarding the notable absences from last week's Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary no-shows. Dan Aykroyd, Bill Hader, and Dana Carvey. And none of it involved snubbing or bad blood. Aykroyd and Hader apparently had previous commitments, and it was just revealed that Dana Carvey could not fly because he had the flu, which makes sense because he was on the show recently portraying Joe Biden. All three men vowed to be there for the 100th.
With your Fox Valley forecast, good morning, I'm Corey Hartman. For today, partly sunny skies. It'll be windy out of the west, highs near 45. Sprinkles or flurries tonight, 29. Mostly sunny and a high near 42 for Tuesday. Rain mixed with snow on Wednesday, highs near 40 and 42 on Thursday.
Right now, it's 44.
That's your WGBW Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WGBW.FM. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.